Seismologists say Trinidad and Tobago lucky in the recent earthquake but may not be in the future. And in sport, sentencing for the disgraced CONCACAF President Jeffrey Webb delayed yet again. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Thursday, August 23. I'll be back with the details after the break. Engineering seismologist at the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center, Dr. Elias Papadoulos, says Trinidad and Tobago was lucky to have sustained such little damage following Tuesday's earthquake and subsequent aftershocks. Around 5:31 p.m., a 7.3 magnitude quake struck and was followed by more than 30 aftershocks. Speaking at a press conference at the Seismic Research Center yesterday afternoon, Dr. Papadoulos said TNT escaped with minor damage because of the distance of the earthquake's epicenter from the Twin Island Republic.
Again, I think that Trinidad was lucky for this earthquake. It was long, it was far away enough, and it was deep enough to avoid a lot of damage. Dr. Latzman's example was very precise. In Haiti, it was the same magnitude, and you had 250,000 people dead. But it was much shallower and much closer. If that was the case today, we wouldn't be speaking under the same terms. So this should guide us what we need to do in the future.
Meantime, Jamaicans are being urged to be prepared for natural disasters. The heads of both Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, OPDM, in Jamaica and the Emergency Disaster Management Agency, CDEMA, are urging Jamaicans to pay more attention and take preparedness more seriously. Director General of ODPEM, Major Clive Davis, said the quake was a timely reminder which should not be ignored. He said Jamaica's location makes earthquake a possibility at any time. Also, CDEMA Executive Director Ronald Jackson is warning about the dangers of not being prepared, pointing out that the region's exposure is not just to hurricanes, as it's a multi-hazard zone. In Belize now, the main opposition People's United Party, the PUP, says it will allow its members to have a conscious vote in the referendum on whether the country should take its border dispute with Guatemala to the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. The government has set April 10th next year as the date for the referendum, allowing Belizeans to decide on taking the dispute arising from Guatemala's claim to Belize's continental maritime and insular territories to the ICJ. The Dean Barrow administration is to launch a public awareness campaign in an effort to reach citizens. PUP Chairman Henry Charles Usher said while members of the party will be allowed to vote their consciences, the PUP will continue with its education campaign in the constituencies. Back in April this year, Guatemala conducted its own referendum on the issue, and despite a low turnout, the country voted overwhelmingly in favor of seeking a final settlement from the ICJ. Guatemala recognizes Belize's independence, but it has continued to voice its territorial claims to an area of around 12,000 kilometers that is currently administered by Belize. Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next.
Same goes our Corey Pace. Looking good, isn't it? You can have it with some rice or roti, whichever you like.
And I'm so excited. I did not get an opportunity to congratulate you. I know it's about a year or so now that you have been elected Assistant Secretary General.
Well, you know, time really flies, Professor. It's good to see you again. Actually, it's now 3 years,
3 years.
Since I have been on the post, since I left the Embassy of Belize in Washington. But it's been great working with the peoples of the Americas, for the peoples of the Americas.
Disgraced CONCACAF President Jeffrey Webb has had his sentencing matter delayed yet again. He was due to be sentenced next month, but was able to secure what is his 8th deferral since he was arrested 4 years ago during a raid at a 5-star hotel in Zurich, Switzerland, where he and others who were planning to attend FIFA meetings. Reports suggest that the latest sentencing has been pushed back by a further 6 months, which means that the matter will now likely take place sometime in March 2019. Webb had pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy, 3 counts of wire fraud conspiracy, and 3 counts of money laundering conspiracy. The former FIFA vice president and former head of the Cayman Islands Football Association agreed to forfeit more than $6.7 million in cash and assets as part of an agreement with the courts. And left-arm seamer Raymond Reefer produced a magnificent final over as Barbados Tridents overcame a below-par batting effort and 5 dropped catches to beat Jamaica Tallawahs by 2 runs and record their 2nd win of the Caribbean Premier League in Florida last night. Defending what appeared to be an inadequate 156 at the Central Broward Regional Park Stadium, Trident seemed headed to defeat when the hosts motored to 80 without loss in the 10th over, with openers Johnson Charles stroking a top score of 42 and Glenn Phillips hitting 36. Now, when the 3 fell for 20 runs, Ross Taylor and David Miller combined in a half-century stand, which left Tallawahs needing just 9 runs from the last over. But with the odds squarely against Tridents, Reefer kept Taylor scoreless off the 3rd ball and allowed only a single to deep cover off the 4th. Milledon swung and missed the penultimate delivery of the match, and with 4 runs required from the last ball, the left-handed South African could only tug a full-length ball to long on, leaving the Tallawahs agonizingly short of their target. The defeat was the 3rd on the trot for the Tallawahs after they won their first 3, while Tridents captured their 2nd in 3 outings and now headed to Bridgetown for 5 home games. And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.